What's up, everybody? Welcome to Building Our Power. This is Gabby.
And Katie.
We're back with another episode. You can hit us up at Building Our PWR on all social media channels. Hit KT up at KT_does art. Hit me up at Gabby's Music. If you would like to donate to the community fridge we have going on, as well as the propagandizing of Memphis, Tennessee, you can do so. The link is in the description.
I did also want to add that I'm currently crowdfunding. KT is for my bills and rent this month. So if you have any extra funds, please send them my way so that I'm able to pay it. There is some information on our Twitter at Building Our Power or PWR. That way, if you want to validate it, you can there as well. It has my Cash App and my Venmo.
What is your Cash App?
Cash App is cash.app at KDP1018.
All right, guys. Today we're kind of all over the place today, so don't expect no structure. Okay, so one thing I want to talk about. I was thinking about violence. Okay, and we kind of spoke on it a little bit on a previous episode, but I just want to talk about just some of the ways that it shows up in our lives and just the absurdity of telling people to not be violent, the absurdity of preaching nonviolence, not necessarily even in protesting, but in life. So, your normal person, your regular church-going person might say, violence isn't the answer, or I don't condone violence, or I'm not a violent person or whatever, because we see violence as something negative and something that cannot be redeemable. But I'm here to preach that violence has its place in this world that we live in right now, and it can definitely be productive, and it can definitely be a good. Now, something I was thinking about that's very interesting is the way that victims are gaslit in this whole violence is not the answer.
Right.
I think of children. It always goes back to the children. Because check this out. Trigger warning, talk about violence against children. Okay, so take your time. Whenever we see a child being abused physically,
right,
the child is always expected to just take it. It doesn't matter if you, as a person, disagree with what's going on. If that child was to just buck up and start punching the parent, or start pushing the parent, or try to take the belt away and try to hit the parent, we would all go, oh no. Everybody will go, oh no. It don't even matter if the kid, if the parent, which I don't condone any violence, no spanking, no nothing. So it's all wrong to me. But it doesn't matter if the parent was in the right or the wrong, even though there's no right or wrong. Everybody would collectively be shocked and then try to say that the child was in the wrong for doing that, for fighting back against somebody that is causing harm to them.
This is going to be kind of controversial, but it's like those kids that are abused and then they end up shooting and killing their parents, like you just said, and then they have to go to jail for it. They were being abused. They were in an abusive situation. If you were in an abusive situation, you literally had no other means to help yourself. What is your first thought? How are you going to get out of this situation?
Literally.
So, but we still punish those children. They still have to go to, maybe a juvenile delinquency type thing. Instead of looking at the situation and being like, hey, these children are probably going through trauma, and this was their only this is what they thought would be their only way out, and then helping them through therapy and helping them process those emotions and figure out what's going on. No, they're going to keep them in that system. Because I'm positive, we need to look up the statistics on this, but if you're in the juvenile system, you're more likely to be into the adult prison system, right?
Yeah.
So, it's awful. It's terrible.
So, definitely. And not only that extreme, but even if I remember hearing my auntie and them calling my mama and saying so and so pushed me after I was beating him with the belt. So and so talked back to me after I was belittling them. So and so said they ain't finna do nothing. And that is giving more weight. That is giving more appall than the fact that a grown person is beating a child with something. A grown person is being verbally abusive to a child. Oh no, we're not going to address that. We're going to address how you should sit and take abuse. And that goes into people's lives, and now they're grown. Talking about nonviolence is the way to get somebody to do something. When, if a child was able to fight back physically and felt empowered to do so, there might be a chance that that grown person wouldn't try that child no more. If they're, at a certain height, weight, where they can actually do some damage. But that's the thing. Like, though, that would be something that might deter the abuser from abusing. If that child or whoever has the power to fight back, to verbalize they don't want it done, and to take action against it. But
I think it's like, if we're talking about it like currently, children have no rights.
Right.
Children have zero rights. They have zero autonomy. They have zero anything. What adults say goes. We would have to completely flip the hierarchy and how we actually look at children, and how children do grow up and become adults, and how that does affect them. We would have to physically look at that and flip the entire system on its head in order to fix that.
But that would never happen because the hierarchy is literally what keeps some grown people going.
I was listening to somebody on TikTok, a native person on TikTok was talking about how whenever, like, from the ages of 0 to 7, their culture would basically, like, not make those children adults. Everybody in the whole entire community would just help with that child's development, emotionally, mentally, their gender even. And so once the child hits 7, then the child could start, like, moving forward in the community. But it's interesting that even, like, for us, we look at 7-year-olds like they literally have a brain. Like, they can literally do whatever they want. They can cook, they can clean, whatever. When they're literally still babies. We don't look at them like they're actually babies.
But we don't look at them like they're babies, but we treat them like they're objects.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Like, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, so I wanted to tie all this into the way we have been conditioned since birth to view with how we take abuse, how we take injustice, how we take wrongdoings. So when you grow up in this thing where, a person in authority, you cannot reciprocate that same energy to a person in authority. You grow up on the job. The boss is able to cuss you out. Yeah. The boss is able to put their hands on you sometimes. They're going to tell you what you going to do, what you ain't going to do. They're going to tell you what time to come in. They're going to do whatever. But you better not stand up to them and say, I'm not doing it. You better not go over there and cuss that boss back. You better not go over there and tell that boss what they gonna do. Because that's the hierarchy.
Yeah.
That's what it is. You better not go to an elected official who is gentrifying your community and taking resources out there and cuss them out at City Hall.
So now all of a sudden it's disrespectful.
It's disrespectful.
It's not disrespectful for them to bring in gentrification and to literally vote in a ton of developers to come into the neighborhoods, but it is disrespectful for you to cuss them out. How does that make sense? That makes no sense.
A cussing out gonna hurt their feelings for 5 minutes, but you are literally destroying people's lives for the rest of their life.
You're harassing them. They're gonna post Twitter posts about how they've been bullied and threatened.
Think about this. Police. A police officer can pin you to the ground, knock you out if they want to, but let you even flinch. You're in the wrong.
Yep.
Comply.
They
Don't
can get
say
you on
nothing.
that.
Don't talk back. I'm not finna let somebody cuss me out.
Yep.
But that is the culture that we live in, this hierarchical culture. The person with the power can do whatever they want to you. And if you are marginalized, if you have less power, you do not have a right to defend yourself.
Yep.
And what we talking about? Oh, like the rebranding of people standing up for themselves has been rebranded as being sensitive.
What?
You know, like people say, or being offended. Like people saying, like, I don't want to go to that Will Smith Jada thing, but just in general, like if a comedian, Dave Chappelle, saying all that transphobic stuff,
right?
And trans people saying, "Oh no, this is trash. You're trash. You're a trash comedian.
Right.
This was terrible for what you said." That is weakness. But sitting there and going, hee hee, ha ha, yeah, that's funny that you made fun of me and you talked about marginalized people like a dog or whatever. Ha ha, that's strength. When that person is doing harm to you.
Do you think that has something to do with like hyper masculinity and how like you're not or hyper toxic masculinity and how you're not supposed to have any outside feelings and stuff like that? Like you as a masculine person in toxic masculinity, you have to be strong. You cannot be weak. You cannot be this, and this. You have to be strong. So if someone comes and they make fun of you and you cry, then all of a sudden that's a problem and you're a weakling. Do you think it has something to do with that?
I don't know, because I feel like it goes both ways. Because it's not even about crying. It's about, you can be angry.
That's what I'm saying. Like, if you show any emotion outside of, I realize this is a joke. Like, even if I think about, like when they say, quote-unquote, locker room talk, which is basically just misogyny, right? So, whenever that happens, that's a man thing, quote unquote. That's a masculine thing, blah blah blah. Do you think that because they're joking about it and stuff that that's a part of it? I don't know though. I don't know. I'm just making a correlation.
What makes it confusing for me? Maybe I need somebody who like a cis man or somebody to come and talk about this, because I don't know, because it's like it's two different things. Like you're supposed to be a strong man, supposed to protect your family, supposed to protect your mama, your kids, your girlfriend, whoever, but then you ain't supposed to be protective over some things. I don't know where that line draws. If you know, if you have insight on this, let us know, because it is kind of confusing. But it is something that, people. Well, here's the thing. Yeah, for some jokes and stuff, it's like, don't be offended, yada yada yada. But then there's some things where it's like everybody can be offended, and that's okay. It's acceptable to be offended by that.
I think it's like we're trying to make sense of something that doesn't make sense. Like, I don't think hyper-toxic masculinity, the patriarchy, capitalism, I don't think that any of that, and how people become offended versus not offended, I don't think any of that is supposed to make any sense. Because it has its roots, ultimately. Every single thing that we end up talking about always has its roots in white supremacy. Because why are transphobic jokes okay to make and people are supposed to laugh at them? Why? White supremacy. Transphobia has its roots in anti-blackness. Like, everything just wraps right back around to white supremacy and how whiteness plays into our current culture.
Yeah, mainly with the hierarchy.
Yeah,
so it's like, but yeah, mainly my main point was that, like, that's another way victims are gaslit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even to say, I don't like that you're addressing me this way. I don't like that you're downplaying my trauma. I don't like that you're triggering me on purpose. That should be a strength, standing up, because majority of y'all don't stand up for shit.
Nothing.
But it's been rebranded as a weakness. I mean, we know why, but it's just silly. And so really this is all just about violence is okay. Violence is okay if you are standing up for yourself and you're standing up for other people who are marginalized. I am pro-violence, because for some people, that is the only thing that works. I mean, it just is what it is. Some people will not respond to reason. Some people don't care about reason, but if they know they're going to get their ass kicked, Sometimes that's all it takes.
The only answer to white supremacy is violence.
Yeah, ultimately, yeah, and that's the thing too.
Yeah, the only answer to white supremacy, the only answer to whiteness, the only answer to solving transphobia, stopping homophobia, stopping literally any phobia is literally white supremacy.
Wait,
Ending
no,
it.
it's even violence.
I mean, yeah, it's violence. I went on a rant and then I forgot what I was saying.
But yeah,
it's violence.
But that's
Sorry.
the thing. Like if that's the case for individual levels, if on the individual level, like you just gotta be ass. Do you think that in the grand scheme of this Western imperialist system, you're going to be able to reason with these politicians and eventually get to where you need to be? You will not. And anybody that's telling you this can be reasoned with, this can be ushered in, this can be reformed, voted in, is giving you a load of bullshit.
They're being paid.
Yeah.
They're being paid. Like, I want y'all to know, like, especially since, are we, like, close to midterms? Yeah. I want you to look at literally everything that's going to happen from here until midterms. And I want you to be hyper vigilant, and I want you to literally look at what these politicians are going to do. You're going to see some politicians come out, and they're going to start talking about Black Lives Matter and social justice issues that they literally haven't talked about since the last election, okay? You're going to see some politicians who are asking you to vote, asking you to do this, this, and this. But then you're going to have these nano-influencers. You're going to have these influencers on Twitter who are being paid literally by these politicians, and you can look it up on the FEC.org or .gov.
Yeah, it's a shit show, but yeah, that was kind of our main little thing we want to talk about. How just trying to encourage people. It is not weak to stand up for yourself.
No.
That's the strongest thing you could ever do. This world, this capitalist system, white supremacy system, don't want you to stand up for yourself. So how is you going against the white supremacist capitalist patriarchy somehow a weakness? Girl, you, boy, whoever, you're doing what you need to be doing. So, was it all on that?
Yeah, that was it. That was all we wanted to rant about.
I'm not finished.
Oh, excuse me.
I just wanted to shout these terrible people out.
Oh.
If you haven't been on Instagram, I talked about Black Power Media a couple months ago because they had T.I. on there with all his rape, sexual assault allegations. That man's a rapist. You can't tell me ain't. They brought Karinga, the founder of Kwanzaa, who also was an op, and then was a woman abuser, pour bleach down women's throats, over there addressing the allegations and saying how he was innocent and none of that stuff was being proven. Even if that stuff wasn't real, which it is, you're an op. Why do y'all have an op on y'all thing? This is not Black Power Media. That was all a fart. I don't know who over this thing, but I'm just saying, if you're following them, I would say unsubscribe or do whatever you want. But just be on the lookout, because these people, literally, like KT was saying, like, you gotta follow the money. You gotta look at people's politics and what they do, not what they say. They can say they about Black Power or about the power of the workers or whoever all day long. But what are they doing in their day to day?
Yeah.
Who are they associating themselves with? If you're associating yourselves with abusers, I'm just gonna figure you rocking with the abusers. Because if something happened and capitalism was over today and the racism is over for whatever reason, you still gonna be around abusers of women, and you don't need to be anywhere near me. And yeah, so that's...
I think what Gabby's trying to say is that just because someone has a flag up, or just because someone says that they're for Black Power, or they're anti-racist, or that they are anti-capitalist, or whatever, it doesn't necessarily mean that they are. And really, you need to be looking out for the people that you idolize, even us. Like, we're not perfect by any means. You can't be ethical within capitalism, but there are certain things that are off limits, like being an op, working for the feds, and things like that. So, yeah, It's a fucked up world. It's a fucked up system.
Yeah, and it's really fucked up to see all the people who try to cash in on people legitimately wanting to do better and know better and learn more.
And something else that's crazy to me. Why do this is kind of off topic, but kind of on topic. Why do all these liberals keep falling for the okie doke? Like if we look at older liberals that are like 50, 40, why do they keep falling for the okie doke? They have been voting up until this point in their entire lives.
Because they have,
why don't they understand that, I voted in this politician like last year and they've done nothing for our community? What is not clicking?
They haven't struggled enough to actually reconsider things. That's the only thing I can say. Because the people that's struggling, they don't vote, and they know this stuff is a farce, and it takes longer to get them into the polls. The boomers of any generation or any race, the boomers of any race, they all benefited in some way of that little economic boom, and they still riding that wave to this day. Everybody else, anybody else that's a liberal and happy to be a liberal is middle class or upper middle class.
And they got money.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. They're still benefiting off of this, because there's no way you're telling me that people are living through these times and is legitimately excited about being a Democrat or a liberal or Republican at that manner. Like, there's nothing here. There's nothing to even say was done. There's nothing materially. Everything is going to shit.
And we're in a fake inflation, so
yeah.
So that's fun. So again, if you want to donate to me, because I'm literally so poor, I'm only eating $15 worth of groceries per week, please Cash App me on Cash App KDP KDP 1018. Get it together. Okay, yeah.
But yeah, just wanted to leave you with not that necessarily that. Just be on the lookout for folks, but encourage you to be strong in yourself. And if somebody treating you wrong, let us just speak life into you and say it's okay to stand up. It's okay to speak your truth. Don't let nobody shame you and say that there's something wrong with that. Something wrong with them. They ain't got enough self-esteem to stand up for some shit. So you keep on doing what you doing. And yeah. All right, this has been. Oh, I forgot. If you want to donate to what we're doing in the community with the community fridge and the propagandizing, putting up flyers and giving money away, you can do so. The link is in the description. You can hit us up at buildingourpwr. Hit KT up at KT_doesart, and hit me up at Gab Beats Music. This has been Gabby
and KT,
and this is Building Our Power.